opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is Express Yourself with
The Professor.
Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. What a day makes, Bahamians. It was very sunny, and all of a sudden the rain started coming down very, very hard. But I'm still was able to get to the show. I hope I'm on time, because I know you people want the show to start promptly at 2 o'clock, so keep praying for me. But I did not know, because it was bright and sunny, and then all of a sudden I thought I heard rain, but then I hear it again. I say, that is rain coming. So I had to try and make a quick arrangement to get here as early as I can. But it's good to be here in the studio. It's cool, and out of all of that wet weather out there. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's rainy. But we have to take it as it comes. But it's a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Don't mind what's happening in other parts of the world. I'm not saying we shouldn't be concerned, because things are terrible out there. Very, very terrible. We still have a beautiful place to live in. All of our problems could be solved. And I got to deal with you people on that. Every single constituency problem, every single community problem, every single national problem can be solved. We have the Holy Bible and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And I did tell you about some unusual constitutional activity that could happen if you're prepared to go that way. That's an option we have to deal with any government or any particular member of Parliament. And when I say member of Parliament, I'm talking about senators as well as representatives in the House of Assembly. Sometimes some people believe that senators are not members of Parliament. The Constitution tells you they're all members of Parliament. You have appointed members of Parliament. You have elected members of Parliament. They all have a responsibility and should be fulfilling that responsibility. Now, whether the current ones are doing it, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. But I wouldn't want to be in any other country. Thank God, God gave me the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And you know, our students are having some issues in the United States where the government of Bahamas telling the students they must go by the rules, the immigration policies, but then they have to know what they are. If the man say he's going to stop you for certain things, then you ought to know what it is that the man expects you to do. You might be thinking something, you might be doing something, you might be saying something. Because I know in times past, when I got my visa from the United States of America, it had right on the bottom line at the bottom, even though you got your visa and your passport, the man or the woman at the line could still stop you from entering the United States territory. Do you know that, Bahamians? I think that is still true today. It happened to one of my relatives where the man just scotched it up. He might have been drinking rum or some foolishness, but he had a valid visa in his passport. And the man just marked it up. And then someone came after him and unmarked it and tell him he could go. Sometimes some of these people get these wicked spirits inside of them and they do all kind of foolishness. But the government of Bahamas is saying they can't protect you. Now, what kind of nonsense is that? It's coming from the Minister of Foreign Affairs. You could be accused falsely. So what does the government do to protect you? The government of the Bahamas has a responsibility to protect its citizens. When I hear those kind of funny remarks, you got to find some different people to run this place, because you need to have your government with you while you're in a foreign country. If you were to run into any kind of difficulty, tell the people they can't do nothing to help you. What's the point of having them? What is the point of having a Ministry of Foreign Affairs that can't help you? You tell me. It doesn't make any sense. The interests of citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas ought to be protected at all times. If the fella can't do that, go find another job. Go do something else. Go mind your grandchildren if you got any. Or go home to your wife or whoever. But you know, that wife thing is a different kettle of fish altogether because you ain't know whether it's your male or female. That's the kind of crap you have in the world today. The world is so mixed up, Bahamians. But the government of Bahamas, through the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Fred Mitchell, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, said they cannot help you. You any crap like that? When I heard that, I was very upset. Now, this isn't the first time I had that kind of foolishness before, but it's being repeated again. What is the point of you paying taxes and you get into difficulty in a foreign country and the man can say he can't help you? You don't know what kind of funny stipulations they may have in their immigration policy. Then what? And the man say you did this, you did that, and you're not even knowledgeable about all of the procedures that you ought to go by. Because I hear they say now, even things you say. No foreigner is going to interfere with my freedom of speech. I can tell you that right off the top, because I ain't checking for you. I go by the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I don't have to visit your dirty, stinking country. If you don't want me there, you set up rules and regulations, and I go by the rules and regulations because you didn't like something that I say in this country. And the country tells me, the Constitution tells me, you have freedom of expression, freedom to impart ideas and opinions without interference. That overrules any policy of any country. Did you get that, Bahamians? Now, when I'm in their territory, then I go by the rules in their territory. You ain't messing around with me, and I'm in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, which is a sovereign, democratic, theocratic state. Did you get that? And you're going to tell me what I say in my own country? You got to be crazy, talking foolishness and nonsense. You have freedom of expression. We got an entire article on that. Boy, I love the way how the Constitution put it. Freedom to impart ideas and opinions without interference with your correspondence. You put it on radio, you put it on television, you put it on, well, this internet thing, that's another thing again. They want to look at your Facebook account. They want to look at this account, next account, that account. And there are some who want to penalize you for your freedom of expression. Now, I'm not saying you're getting them people funny affairs. I ain't talking about that. But I'm in the Bahamas and I'm expressing myself freely. I am not subject to any foreign authority outside this country. You get that? I'm only subject to the Constitution of the Commonwealth, not even the government. I'm not subject to the government of the Bahamas if the government of the Bahamas violates the Constitution. I ain't checking for you. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to obey you. I could defy you because you have no constitutional authority to tell me anything. And that's what people need to understand. The Constitution puts in the protective rights that you and I ought to function in. The man step over the line, he violates the law, well, he's in violation of the law. Of course, it's open line Friday, Bahamians. You can call in 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-027. Don't mind me, I'll talk till Christ come back. So those who made that flurry of calls in the last show yesterday, I appreciated that. But I tell you, you got to call in early now. Sometimes when I get going, I don't know when to stop. And then I'm in the point of expressing a point of view. And then a call comes, and I'll take the call. I ain't got no problem with that. But the point is, call now while the lines are open. Don't wait for the last minute to do it. Now, I need you to do more than just call. I need you to get organized on the ground in your constituency. We have some major issues to deal with. I'm going to need your support, your backing, your help, your encouragement, your inspiration, your prayers. You got to pray to God now. Ask God to intervene in our affairs in this country so we won't get like Haiti, we won't get like Gaza Strip, we don't get like Sudan, we won't get like Ukraine. So the Russians march straight across the border and fool around with those people. How they get like that? Now President Trump is saying he ain't sure whether this man wants peace, but he can give him a couple of weeks. And then he said they may have to change strategy. We got to do the same thing here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We got to change strategies or ways of doing things because some things are not conducive for the majority of the Bahamian people. And some people don't know how to do anything. But they want you to believe that they could run things. They can't run a candy shop with 5 candies in the jar. They can't handle that. But they will handle national matters. They will handle weighty matters. And just making a complete mess of this country. Bahamians, we got to do better than that. I heard on another show, they were talking about the current prime minister, how when he was in opposition and he was trying to become prime minister of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, who was for him and who, they didn't call the names now, and who were with him. One particular personality claims he was with him in good times and in bad times. Now this particular personality has the office of prime minister. Does that improve his character? Has his character changed? Is he now doing everything constitutionally sound? He's not. I can tell you that right off the top. I got to hesitate on that. Now, you don't know that, then you go and check it out for yourself. He's not. He's doing some things that are not constitutionally sound because he has no legal authority to do those things. None whatsoever. Maybe an imagination in his head or somebody gave him some bad advice like the Attorney General. He's the chief legal advisor to the government. So the Attorney General might have told him some things and he would believe him instead of believing what the Constitution say, just like the first Prime Minister, who would have taken advice from Paul Adley and the Honorable Paul Adley, let me get it right, the Honorable Sean McQueenie and those other fellas back then. They are responsible for advising the cabinet and the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So maybe this one, he's getting advice from the Attorney General, who is the chief legal advisor to the government. But there are things he's doing that are not constitutionally sound. I've proven that. I'm not backing down from that one iota. We need a national government that can solve problems. I'd like to see Bahamians discuss that in great detail because many things you talk about aren't worth anything. You know why? Because what I see in this country is a constant increase in problems, challenges, difficulties, foreigners, strangers, aliens, outsiders. More and more of them coming in here, and no mass deportations. Isn't the Honorable Alfred Sayers Minister for Immigration? I heard it say that he may not be running again, but he still has the Ministry of Immigration and Citizenship. What is he doing in that office? Supposed to be highly educated. I'm not questioning his qualifications. I'm not interested in that. It's what you do in the office while you are there. That's what counts. But he has the office. And there's some funny things happening in immigration that are not constitutionally sound. They need to fix it. But they're not fixing it, Bahamians. You're not putting enough pressure on them to get it fixed. And then they'll believe that they're doing okay because you didn't say anything, you didn't push them, you didn't pressure them, you didn't compel them to do better. So they think everything is okay. Everybody agrees. I don't agree with them because I know they're doing foolishness and nonsense. That's why I don't. Anything that's not constitutionally sound is foolishness, nonsense, and crap. And you need to tell them the way it is. That is, if you know the Constitution. Now, if you don't know the Constitution, that's a different kettle of fish. You could say, Professor, I ain't quite sure. But if you ain't quite sure, don't say nothing. When you hear me speak about the Constitution, I ain't backing down for nobody. Whether you agree or disagree, that's your problem. I ain't nothing to do with that. But you show Professor where he's wrong constitutionally, then I could agree with you. But if you can't do it, then keep your mouth shut. That's what you ought to do. Because the Constitution is supreme, not the Prime Minister, not the government, not the Parliament. It's the Constitution that's supreme. In fact, one lady said yesterday, I think she felt that the Constitution was kind of biased toward women. I think I need to comment on that today because let me just say, for the benefit of the Bahamian people, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas is always right. Did you get that, Bahamians? It is never, ever wrong. Now, if you could just let that sink into your psyche, you know why it is never wrong? Every single thing that the Parliament passes has to be analyzed in the light of the Constitution. Because the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. The Parliament ain't supreme, but the law is supreme. The Constitution is supreme. So anytime they pass any crap in there, you look at it, did the Constitution agree with that? Is it constitutionally sound? Yes or no? If it ain't constitutionally sound, it's crap. It is nonsense. It's foolishness. And you need to tell them that. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Hey, how are you?
You are listening, Professor.
Yes, ma'am.
One night, a woman get catch today, building one house in Marathon upstairs, and the lady in the bank can't get master if she haven't even permit to build that. And the lady told her, the next time I come and get a lock of your son. You should see her, the Haitian woman around the woman in the brown khaki.
Okay.
You know?
But I didn't catch that last part. I heard what you said. The woman was building a house, and what she was doing.
The lady and her son building an upstairs house on Marathon, and they don't have no permit to build it.
Right.
And somebody screamed on her. You should see it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then what is immigration doing about it? They ain't knocked
No,
it down yet?
she supposed to have a permit to build that.
Say that again. I didn't get that. The house is built.
Yeah, she going to build upstairs on it.
Got upstairs on it. And they living in it, right?
So I had a phone.
Okay.
All right.
So listen now, baby, don't go yet. I trying to figure out. So they're living in the house, right?
Huh?
They're living in the house.
They live it, but they get kept building upstairs on it.
Right. Okay. Now you don't know if any action was taken against them, right?
But I know yet when she said
Oh.
when she comes, she can lock up her son.
Oh, wait now. Is the immigration personality?
No, not the immigration. The lady in the brown car said, next time I come back here, I can pick up your son. I can lock him up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. But then if they are violating the law now, immigration can move in on it, can they?
But what are Haitian doing building up folks here and they don't have no, they come here, ain't got no,
No permit.
you know?
If I want to put up a wall, I have to have a permit.
Yes, sir.
I want to put up a fence, I have to have a permit.
Yes, sir.
So
Someone's Haitian in
once-
this country, man. Someone's Haitian in this country.
Once, hold on, caller, don't go nowhere. Once it has been determined that they are violating the law, then it should be knocked down at their expense.
Mhm.
That's what happened to
I mean,
one
some of them
woman.
even ain't straight, you know?
That's what happened to one woman when
Every day they coming in the Bahamas every day. You don't know how you go to the airport. They coming in every day on
Yes,
to the
ma'am.
airport and on
Yes,
Bahamas
ma'am.
there.
Yes. You're quite right. We're going to look further into that because someone
Yeah,
brought
okay
it up
then.
yesterday. But thank you very much. I
All right.
appreciate that. I think me and my producers tell me that another call is on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Professor, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I think what the lady was talking about just now was not just a house. She was building a hotel.
Oh,
Room for board, yeah. That's the immigration issue with building. And the Haitian woman dared to tell the police officer in khaki, like the lady said just now.
uh-huh.
She said, you are not, I forget the department that's in charge of building. She said, you are not this and that. And the policewoman said, okay, we can see if I am not, the building code or committee or something like that.
Yes.
I don't know because her number that she had up there
Okay.
does not register with what the application was for.
Okay.
That's all. Sometimes I listen to too many details.
Okay.
But the reason why I didn't call because couldn't find my phone. To be
Oh.
honest with you.
Yeah. Okay.
These phones today they could be anywhere in your pocket.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm looking for something in my bag, I can't find it.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe it. I found the phone eventually. I had to call my girlfriend to tell her to phone me so I could hear it. It's great.
Why isn't
I
that
thought it was in the
something?
car, sir. But
Yeah.
when she called, I still couldn't find it. It
Yeah.
was under, your stuff you keep closest to you.
Right.
That pile. But anyway, Professor, I hear they got voodoo practices going on now. They get a piece of your item from your.
Your personal item?
Now I'm looking at this as we speak.
Yes.
Immigration is reporting this.
Okay.
And you say call in. I usually like to wait till something on your show drive me crazy, and I got to call back in.
Yeah.
But trust me, I got a lot of things on my mind.
Okay.
And Professor, I'll let you go on this. What government takes the country's taxes and builds a home for illegals? I'll stretch it right there. Maybe they're not all illegals. While the citizens themselves pay rent and mortgages. And a lot of them are homeless. And when they keep up, as yesterday somebody divulged that the money's coming from the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Now, I thought that was discontinued.
Wait a minute now. We don't have a sovereign wealth fund.
We don't have one.
No.
No.
We have something else.
Yes.
So maybe
We
the
have
money
some
is
kind
coming
of
from that new fund.
investment plan, something like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's still your money and my money.
No, but it is. So if I understand you correctly, they're building houses for illegal aliens.
Yes, like Mr. Hyland always say to you,
Yes.
they were purchasing the land. Now they are building. Well, I got to be correct on this one. These are 150 homes in Abacoa,
Okay.
the biggest Haitian residence in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Okay? Well, these are facts, I'm telling you. But I was
150
waiting, Chad, you would tell me something. That's why
Yes.
I couldn't. But the thing about it is, they're building these homes. And people like myself and other people, I'm sure, are committed to a payment of rent, mortgage, or yearly, what do you call that thing? stuff. But the government has the money
Yes.
to do these things just
Okay.
before an election.
I noticed that. All kinds of things happening just before an election.
Right now.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks. Hey, somebody probably want to talk to you. But,
Yeah, I'm sure.
Lucky you break anyway. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you, thank you for contributing. I'm sure that there'll be a lot of others who want to call in to the show today because I told them to call in early. It's open line Friday. Bahamians begin to discuss any number of issues, but I want you to do more than just call in. I'm calling on you to become active on the ground where you live because Bahamians, you have to be highly organized. And I think one of the drawbacks is that we are not properly organized. I know it when I see it. I can feel it. I can touch it. I can taste it. I can smell it. I know it. We're not there yet, Bahamians. And I know you ain't ready for no unusual constitutional action. So I got to rest that one on the side. I'd like to do it, you know. But the Constitution say, Professor, you can't do it by yourself. You've got to get the support of the people to make it happen. So I'll wait for that. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. This is Open Line Friday. Bahamians call in 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. You want to talk about Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Mr. Philip Brave Davis. We'll talk about him too. We got some tapes on him anyhow. And also Pia Global Role. I got to play that tape again today. I told my producer. See, you all ain't listen to what the woman say, you know. I ain't get no one to call on what that woman told me yesterday. Why you all get like this? This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break. 9.5 FM. Bahamians, this is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of Bahamas. It's a little wet today, but this is Open Line Friday. We want you to call in to the show, 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271, 813-0271. Yeah, that's the third number. Yeah, I sort of got a little mixed up there. I was a little distracted. Bahamians, there are so many things happening. Sometimes I don't even know where to start, but this is Open Line. Anything. You all want to talk about Donald Trump? You talk about Donald Trump too, you know, because he's in the news. But he's doing something in the United States which we are not doing here. And I did mention to you the Minister for Foreign Affairs say he can't help us. Our students run into difficulty with visas in the United States. And now some are being told, see if you could go to another country to get higher education. Now, I'm not saying that you must put yourself in trouble, but the man can't tell me what to say in my own country. What the heck you think he's going? When the Constitution says, call us, stay on the line, don't go nowhere. When the Constitution tells me I have freedom of expression, freedom to impart ideas and opinions without interference, what the hell is he to do with that? That's my constitutional right, my constitutional freedom, my constitutional privilege. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor. What bothers me, we as organic Bahamians, descendants from the Arawak Indians, and the loyalists and whatever have you, we vote for politicians who we think, who we believe, who we know would acknowledge us as the rightful owners to the Bahamas. But every time you turn on the radio or you see or hear something, our politicians who we vote for, who's supposed to be looking out for the Bahamas and the people's interests, you hear they doing this for the immigrants. They're doing the next thing for the immigrants. What is supposed to be, man? What is the Bahamas supposed to be? We say we have an immigration problem, but look like the politicians are more of a problem than the immigrants. Where in the world you could go in and you mistreat your citizens to take care of the immigrants? Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we practicing genocide in the Bahamas? Why are we doing this? The immigrants, they are not entitled to our land. We can't go to their land, their home, and get land. But what for us? The politician giving it to us, giving it to them. What happening, man? We are not entitled to the Bahamas and its privileges. The politicians, God is going to deal with them if they don't stop. Not as God can deal with them because it is not right what they're doing. It's not right. Why are they doing it? And nobody is standing up and talking for us, the Bahamians. Like everybody, as long as they can get something, it's all right. Do whatever you want to them poor black Bahamian people. Man, God can deal with this situation, you know. This is a spiritual battle that we are in. We have a bunch of demons walking around here. We don't know these people. Why are we flooding this place with these people from these strange cultures? The writing is on the wall. By election time, a lot of things can happen because it's going to happen in the spiritual realm. And we, those who have fight us as Bahamians, God can deal with them.
Thank you, caller, for your contribution. Now, I want to add to what she said before I introduce my special guest here. He's already in the chair. The point is, Bahamians, I cannot say anything against what the lady just expressed. Those are her views, and she is quite right in what she is saying. If we're serious about dealing with the problems we have in this country, if we feel the government of the Bahamas, notice what I said, the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is not acting in our best interest, we could stop them today. Do you know that? They got to wait for no election. We can stop them today. We can take constitutional action against them today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. Are we prepared for unusual constitutional authority? Because it's right in the document. You ain't see it, eh? But I believe very strongly you ain't ready for that. And I hear the cry of the lady. We have to do something about what she said. And Bahamians, we have the full authority of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas to deal with a government that is not acting in our best interest. Do you know that? You got to wait for any election to do that. That's not in the Constitution. An administration may be given a purported period of time, but when that administration goes contrary, is acting contrary to the Constitution, it's not a valid administration. Do you understand that? The point is, we have not reached a point where we are very serious about taking serious, constitutionally sound action against a government that is violating the Constitution. I've been on this for some time, and I've watched the Bahamian people. Now, I'm not against you expressing your views. That's very good. I appreciate that. We got to do more than that. We have to show the government we are serious about what we say. They still believe they're doing the right thing. We got to shake them up, Bahamians. My mother always said, if you don't hear, you will feel. But we got to let the government feel some blows, some real rough ones. Because they ain't checking. And some blows will knock some people completely out of the ballpark. And you'll be surprised to know how quick they will go. But the point is, we are not ready for that. Now, if someone could tell me differently, well, fine. I have been looking for hardcore evidence. Whether the Bahamian people today, what is the day, May 30th, 2025? Tomorrow is supposed to be May 31st. Are the Bahamian people ready for very serious constitutional action against a government that has been violating the Constitution for 52 years? You say, Professor, how you know that? I did my homework, Bahamians. 52 years from day one. And we've been sitting on our backsides 52 long years up to July the 10th of this year. And then tell the fellas they could do what they feel like doing. And then you're going to talk about you tired. Tired of what? And you haven't even taken any action that is essential and necessary to be able to take this country where it ought to be going. Bahamians, we have to do something about that. Now, I agree with everything that the lady said. But your foreign affairs minister say he can't help you if you run into trouble, you students in the United States. He's saying follow the law. But what is the law you're supposed to follow? Everything ought to be made clear. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs should tell the students precisely and exactly what immigration laws they're supposed to go by. But if you got something with the fella talking about, he ain't tell me nothing, and then he want to put something on me, but what I say in the Bahamas, you got to be crazy. His head's sick. Because you're not going to interfere with my freedom of expression. I can tell you that right now. You keep a dirty country to yourself. But the man tell you, your Minister of Foreign Affairs tell you he can't protect you, he can't help you. Any crap like that? That shows you how weak and puny the government of the Bahamas is. And we got to fix that, Bahamians. So I agree with the cry out by the lady. Bahamians, let's get moving now. If you're ready for unusual constitutional action, let's get ready for some other things then. But we can do something. Don't you ever forget that. You don't have to sit back and complain every single day. You could complain today, then tomorrow you take action. You could complain this morning, take action this afternoon. As quick as that. But then the man, see, he got it away for 52 years. He said, you're all joking. So you got to hit them a couple of times with some heavy blows to knock them out. You know how to knock them out cold? And then when they wake up, oh, that's what you mean. Eh? Oh, yeah, I see what you mean now. One lady told me, I don't know if I quite agree with it, but I'll put it out there anyhow. One lady from Grand Bahama, and she has a right to that view. I'm not knocking her for it. That you may have to embarrass these national leaders internationally. Give them some heavy embarrassment. Now, I don't know how many of you agree with that, but I kind of say, well, if the man say he's speaking for the Bahamas, well, then we should support him. We can deal with them, some internal issues that are in the country. We could fix that. But the man say he gone to the UN meeting he had in New York the other day. Was it yesterday? Maybe yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. I know all the details, but I heard him say some things about talking to these investors. And when it comes to the safety of the Commonwealth, it ain't nothing to do with the PLP government or the government of the Bahamas. Nothing to do with them. Do you understand what that means? The fact that the country has been stable from 1729 has nothing to do with the political parties of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because they've been doing a lot of crap, a lot of foolishness, a lot of nonsense, and still doing it today. But you ain't taking action against them. 52 years of crap, man. Come on. Since independence. But a highly welcome to Global Radio 99.5. If Tim and I get started, I may go till Christ come back. Go ahead, Brother Isaac.
Good day, Professor.
Yes, sir.
And I understand. Believe me, I understand. Good day, Bahamas. And to our producer here.
The producer, yeah. It's a good one, too, now. You know how to cool me
Definitely.
down. Yeah.
Professor, as the caller spoke, and as you said, we are quiet on so many issues.
Too many issues, yes.
And chief among them, we are quiet on immigration.
Oh, yes.
That's what
we
she
are.
touched on.
Yes,
We're
she did
quiet
touch on that. Very quiet.
on immigration
Yes.
when other countries in the region are very vocal
On it.
on immigration
Yeah, and they're taking action.
and taking action.
Yes.
Our neighbors to the south, I hope the listening audience don't get tired of me saying this, right? Our neighbors to the south, the Turks and Caicos Islands, requested support from Great Britain.
Yes.
Great Britain sent an aircraft carrier to
Right.
the region
Yes.
and manpower
Right.
to back up efforts to protect sovereignty.
And you see Canada had the king over there?
The king walked into Parliament. I hope he took note. I hope the Bahamians understand
He's
who's
stating his authority.
Well, I hope the Bahamians understand
Well,
who's the
listen.
boss here,
That's right.
based on the
Based on
Constitution.
the Constitution, yes.
You know,
Go on.
mind you, there are certain things that we did not adjust in our Constitution, because our Constitution speaks to Her Majesty the Queen.
Yes.
But that's another story for
That's
another time.
story for another time.
Professor, we are too quiet on immigration,
Immigration, yes.
and so much is happening. We are too quiet on labor and the
Oh, yeah.
issues of labor in this country. Where you hear workers saying that they sent letters to the Department of Labor,
Yes.
many letters, and then things have to come to a boiling point. In the case of Norwegian Cruise Lines in
Yes.
Great Stirrup Key,
Right.
in the case of Norman's Key. What's going on, Professor?
By the way, I think we got to tape on Pierre Global role. Because, see, I played this a couple of times, but the people ain't look like they understand what the woman saying to me. Mr. Brucer, play that type again while my guest is talking about labor. Pierre Global role. Bahamians, listen carefully to the woman saying, man, and respond accordingly. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
The decision by the Trade Union Congress to withdraw from the Labor Day parade and the narrative they've chosen to build around it is disappointing, misleading, and not reflective of the truth that workers in this country deserve. When misinformation is presented as truth, especially by those entrusted to represent working people, we must respond with the facts. So here are the facts. The Davis administration has prioritized labor issues from day one because we believe in the dignity of work and the rights of working people. We've signed over 55 industrial agreements, which is more than any administration in recent history, delivering salary increases and improved benefits for tens of thousands of workers. We increased the national minimum wage, not because we were pressured to, but because it was the right thing to do. We've achieved a lot in 3.5 years, making more progress on many important labor issues during this term than has been seen across successive administrations. So when the leadership of the TUC suggests that this administration is failing workers, I must ask, where was this level of outrage when significantly less was being done in years prior? The truth is, the majority of what the TUC is demanding is already happening, and they know it. They know it because they've been present in the room. They've helped shape the labor legislative reform that's being finalized right now. In fact, the entire reform process, which was launched in July 2024, is built on their own recommendations. They sat at the table, they gave input, they attended our symposium just last week and said they were pleased with the draft. So what has changed between today and last week? The Davis administration has kept the door open as a matter of policy. Ultimately, regardless of our views, we must all come together in the name of progress if we truly support the advancement of labor in our nation. This administration will continue to do what it was elected to do, deliver for the Bahamian people. Labor Day is bigger than any union president or any administration. It's about workers. And this year, like every year in and out of government, the PLP will be there marching, not for applause, but for principle. Because the work continues and we will not be moved by games.
Those are some very interesting remarks made by the Minister of Labor, Pierre Glover. Brother Hyla.
Well, she ended by saying that we would not be moved by games. Now,
she also mentioned government and the PLP party. Now, see, I want to know what the heck she's talking about.
yeah, but they lumped the two together, which is
see,
what
that's-
you're saying.
Yeah, but see, that's foolishness.
It's politics, Professor.
That is utter nonsense.
But it's working against the people.
Go ahead.
The people don't fully understand. That's why you're here, Professor. They're getting it. They're getting it slowly. They calling and they telling you.
Yes, they like the lady.
Yeah, they telling you. They're getting it now.
Yeah.
They're getting it. Thank God for you. If you was in here, I don't know what to say. If you thought we was in a mess now,
Boy,
you'd have been from the frying pan into the fire.
right now. Yeah.
You have a call, Professor.
I'll call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Professor, what's up, man? Good afternoon to you and your guest.
Yes,
Hey,
okay.
good day.
You know, we can't allow these people to play word games
Yeah.
with the BMF people, in particular labor in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
The minister said they have signed over 50 industrial agreements. If I
55.
sign a contract with you and you ain't put the first dollar on the table, is that a valid contract?
She said thousands of workers, tens of thousands. I ain't got one worker to call to say they support the minister in what she say. No
Yeah,
union has called in to say they support the minister in what she's
Exactly.
saying.
And
What is she
also,
talking about?
Also, too, she said she met with the unions and they agreed to a draft industrial agreement. Key word, a draft industrial agreement. That's not the final. A draft is something.
Mhm.
Listen, let's look at this and let's finalize it.
Yes.
So we can't allow these people to play word games with the people of the Bahamas, in particular workers. You know, and also too, if you notice what she said at the end of her statement, that the PLP
Yes.
will be with their marching. So I take that to say they will be with in full colors, full PLP regalia on the march, not to support the workers, but to support the PLP.
Okay.
Strong
point.
That's a strong
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
strong point.
Quite
See,
right.
if they were supporting the workers, they wouldn't be wearing any colors
Exactly.
because all laborers are not one particular
One
color.
particular color, yes.
So
Or
they,
not one particular party.
right.
Right.
So right now, it's like they may take exception to this, Professor, but see, away from that march, the government may be involved with union busting,
That's
which is
possible.
unlawful.
Yeah, I think we have another call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor,
Yes, ma'am.
I hear they ain't wearing no yellow shade, they wearing blue shade this time. You see, to fool the people.
Okay.
The
All right.
PLP, they wearing blue shade. They ain't wearing the yellow shade, I hear.
But the lady tell us the PLP will be out in full force.
Huh?
The lady said the PLP will be on the march. See, here's the minister of the government. Is she speaking as a member of the PLP or is she speaking as a minister of the
I know
government?
she's talking about that. I
No,
don't
but
know
we
that
got to,
room, that
but
room
caller,
talking about-
stop the caller, please. We got to go by what the woman say. She's the minister of labor. She said the PLP will be on the march. Where's the government of the Bahamas? Go ahead, caller. Bring the caller back up. Caller, go on, please. Cut the call. Cut the call. The problem is this, Bahamians. This has been a problem for 52 years as an independent nation. Are we dealing with the PLP party or are we dealing with the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? The money that's in the Treasury doesn't belong to the PLP. It belongs to the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Look like the woman all mixed up. If I am hearing her correctly, if anyone feels that I am not hearing her correctly, then correct me. See, this is why you got to listen to what, well, the fellow who called just say these word games they are playing. See, I like to listen carefully to what people say. Call us, stay right there. I like to listen carefully to what you're saying to me. You say you signed over 55 trade agreements. And of course, the caller said not a dollar was put on the table, and talk about the draft agreement or draft legislation that has been put forth. All right? We're going to hear from Obi later on in the show. But the point is, Bahamians, we have a situation where the woman has made these remarks. Tens of thousands of people, workers, have gotten salary increases and are getting other benefits. I hear one single worker call to say he agrees or she agrees with that. Not even a union. What happened to you all out there, man? This is the third consecutive day we're playing that tape from that woman. And I deliberately did it because I want you to hear exactly what the woman was saying. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor, I am very, very upset. A couple of weeks ago in the Nassau Guardian, this recruitment agency in Jamaica, Alfonso Recruitment Agency, it captions on the paper, recruit from Jamaica, masons, brick nurses, this thing, the next thing, doctors, pharmacy workers, every aspect of the labor market was advertised in the Nassau Guardian stating and the Tribune stating that this agency from Jamaica want to recruit these people in here. What happened in the Bahamas? What mind games we as the people who we put here to protect the Bahamas suppose? I mean, what's going on? They want to empty Jamaica now in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Electricians, plumbers, carpenters, masons. So that means the Bahamas from the beginning of the world until now, we don't have these people. What's going on in this country? We just a bunch of money dope addicts that we just see now we making so much money off immigration and whatever. Why are these people want to flood this place with these people from the country? Recruit from Jamaica, all these things, gardeners, landscapers, one whole barrage thing, and much more, they say. So that means the Bahamians, we're supposed to work in our own country? What's going on? Is this an underworld black market thing, or are the politicians involved in it? What's going on, man? What's going on in this country? You know, we ain't going to rest until the Burma Road riot resurfaces again, you know. You keep pushing people, so we're not qualified to work in our country. Where we supposed to go? Where we supposed to go, man? What happened in this country?
Okay,
And
caller.
then we talking a bunch of bull out there, but Laban was not. We have been disenfranchised. When you look on the bus stop now, all you can see is immigrants going to work. The Bahamians in the food store hustling, and they're begging the jitney bus driver for a ride because they ain't get no money. We don't have no rights in the Bahamas, man. Is this what 67 was supposed to be about? Dudley and them walking downtown? What's going on in this country, man? Are we in a demonic force? Are we being disillusioned? What's going on?
Caller, you asked a lot of pertinent questions. I want to thank you for your contribution. But I'll let you speak to that because we got to go right into this break. This is Professor Sidney McGarter, Walter Thompson. We'll be back after the break. You had those callers called in about immigration matters that are very, very serious in the country. Two callers, two female callers. I'm not hearing too much. I did hear from one of the men, but we need to hear more from the men because we have some very serious issues. And the question is, are we ready and prepared to do what is essential and necessary? Because we don't want to see the country fall apart because you have a government that seems to be helpless in being able to do it. Because we could help them, We could help them to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Brother Hyler, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Professor, I am thinking of, the recent the protests that were happening in the United States.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but, I'm thinking about my people. I'm thinking about my country. I'm thinking about how laissez-faire, you call it, or relaxed, laid back,
Laid back,
allowing
yes.
things to happen, right?
Yes, yes.
And it's not good. It's not good for us. You know, obviously, it's hurting the country. It's hurting our people. And then, like the first caller had said, you know, these are the persons who you entrusted with the authority
Of course.
to lead you.
That's right.
So you're thinking that they're going to do what is in your best interest.
Yes.
Now we're hearing all these stories of not only are we having to share the country, but in some ways others are benefiting even more
More than us.
than we are
That's correct.
in the
Yes.
country. And this is not good.
No, it
Now, as far as what can be done about it, who's speaking up? Because now we're talking about advocacy. You are one of the people that are speaking up. You're not just reporting.
Yes.
You're giving your opinion from the Constitution to the laws that are being passed.
Yes.
You're giving a description of what we are experiencing.
That's correct.
Now, from you and I had this conversation off the air. Other than advocacy or becoming an advocate for something, you have activism.
Yes.
Now we have a young man that became the top activist in the Bahamas over time.
Yes.
You know, now he and his team shifted to politics and policy making.
Yes.
Now you need all of the above,
Okay.
but where is that strong activism? Now some would say, "Oh, he's still doing activism." Listen, go sit down. When the rocket crash, nobody's supposed to sleep in the Bahamas. That's what activism is about.
Right.
When the rocket crashed, if my brother KCX, Kendall Colebrook out of Grand Bahama, bless his soul, was still alive, those things would not be happening. And it put many of us to shame.
Yes.
You know, I myself, along with many others, we marched together against these things.
Yes.
Now everybody after power these days.
But this is the third time this rocket crashed.
Like, I don't know how much time it can take, Professor.
But the man say he won't come up, the Elon Musk fella, right, who's a part of that man cabinet.
Yes.
He wants to come up with another launch 3 to 4 weeks from the time they let off the last one. That one landed in the Indian Ocean. They don't have any control over these crappy things that they're putting in the air. And so it creates a problem for nations of the world. You don't know where these things are going to land. They seem to have lost complete control, but the man say he won't colonize Mars. At what expense, Bahamians, is this going to be allowed? And then they're telling us our control of our airspace only goes up to a certain point, which ought not to be, because our airspace should go all the way up to heaven, just like everybody else around the world. But then you got some other fellas, the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration. Now, I see nothing in Bahamian law to talk about FAA. I see nothing there. I see in the Constitution. I don't know nothing about no Federal Aviation Administration. Now, them fellas got that funny thing over there. That's their thing. But not in the Commonwealth Bahamas. You can't tell me you taking over our airspace. We go up a mile or half mile and a half, and then you take over the rest.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. Say they don't have no jurisdiction. But what kind of crap is that?
Professor, I don't understand. Let me see if I could pull up this article quick. What they call overflight fees. This is, somebody got to help me out here. The government, this is a Tribune News article from 2021. Diaghilev, in power at that time, Minister of Aviation.
Minister of Tourism and
Minister
Aviation.
of Tourism and Aviation, right?
Right, yeah.
He said that we would begin collecting overflight fees
Right.
for any aircraft passing through Bahamian airspace.
How much we collect from this crash?
They
It's
say
the third crash now.
bank accounts have already been created at the Bank of the Bahamas, where the International Air Transport Association will deposit the fees it collected from its member airlines on the Bahamas' behalf. You hear that, Professor?
Yeah, I hear that, yeah.
So what I'm particularly proud of as Minister of Tourism and Aviation during this term under this minister administration, we finally figured out how to monetize a natural resource of this country, which is the sovereign airspace of the Bahamas, Mr. Diagala said.
Stop right there. I believe you got a caller on
You have
the
a caller.
line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Hey, what's up?
Good afternoon, your guests, and good afternoon, Bahamas.
Good day.
Yes.
Professor, you know what we really got to do? We got to have someone to monitor our Constitution, man, because, that's like I can say it, man. We had our ancestors, when she thought these fellas were special, man. Because, listen, they be doing all kind of crazy things, all kind of, and the only way you could shame them, and no one could do you nothing, is out shame them by the Constitution.
Okay.
You got to shame them by the Constitution and say, this here ain't, this, huh?
I think I can take that. I can take up that challenge. That's a good one.
You got to, and plenty of them doing some dumb things. They run around. Hey, first let me say this, man. You can cut me if you want to. Our ancestors must think these people were special because, listen, first this can be one of my thing up, and no one can get mad at me. But it's the Constitution. There's no flag flying in the Bahamas. None, no whatever. We need to teach the policemen these. We need to teach immigration this, and this could be our baby. You cannot fly because first don't like this. You got to, if you do get a citizenship, you got to put your hand on your heart and take the oath of allegiance.
Yes.
So when you take the oath of it, all the policemen need to do, any flag you see in the Bahamas, that's a big investigation. How you get the citizenship? Who give it to you? Out telling you have to take the oath of allegiance. And right on page 15, 7-1. You can go right there. And first up, when these people go in the house, I don't know who's put these people in these senate and things like that. They run out with all kind of foolishness. Then we say the binding respect for Christian values.
Yes.
And the Bible clear, the Christian council sitting down. I know what he look good. He look good, the bad boy. But he need to put you up on Facebook and let us put some things in it because the Bible is clear. Say, I am not a God of chaos.
That's right.
And right there, when I make something, I made it. So when you talk at all these different, bringing this marital rape law, talking this crazy talk, like you record it, if you can't settle down with your husband or your wife, get yourself a divorce. And they're bringing all kind of. I had one chapter where this chapter here, they make foolishness, turn foolishness and make it sense. And this they thing, this where they bring chaos. Right here in Isaiah chapter 5:20, they taking foolishness and making it law because the people don't know no better. So I say, end on that one.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. That's very good. Brother Hyde.
Well, the brother said that the president of the Christian Council looked the part. He looked good.
Yes.
He looked the part. But also, the Christian Council is quiet on so many things.
Very quiet.
You know, we had sorry to say it, but there's a particular father that was accused and found guilty of molesting 2 daughters.
Yes.
It just recently came out in the papers, a 5-year sentence.
Yes.
People are extremely angry about that.
Yes.
You know, the immigration situation. The only thing I remember the Christian Council saying is you need to do your job.
Yes.
You know, you're hired, you're supposed to do a job of immigration. Do your job. That's like a slap on the wrist.
That's right.
You know, what do you mean do your job?
And they're not doing it.
The country's being inundated, overrun.
Yes, that's correct.
It's not enough to say do your job. Express what's on the people's heart. Set up a town meeting. You set up a town meeting as the Christian Council. Let people come and voice their concerns. That would be very effective.
Yes, it can.
Because we have 300 people, like the woman that called a few minutes ago, the caller that called a few minutes ago.
Yes.
We don't have enough town hall meetings, discussions about community issues.
Right.
Civil society, I believe, could say more, do more. The public doesn't necessarily understand civil society's role, but civil society is an organization made up of citizens that presents itself directly to the government on a regular basis. When I say directly, to the Minister of Labor, to the Minister of Health,
Yes.
to the Attorney General. Civil society is a group of Bahamians led by Dr. Anthony Hamilton.
Yes, I heard so.
They go and they speak to the powers that be. They sit right across the table, have a conversation. And I have to, well, just for full disclosure, I'm also a member of civil society myself.
Have any solutions been solved?
So I'm guilty myself.
Any solutions?
They have, I believe, one of the most important things they would tout is an agreed upon national development plan.
Wait,
Now-
wait, stop right there.
Mhm.
But I've been hearing about this national development plan from that time.
Yeah, so whether it's 20 years, 25 years, all parties involved, all political parties,
Right.
all factions
Yes.
sign and agree, commit to fulfilling certain goals on a progressive basis.
What has been fulfilled
Now, I don't
since you're not sure about
we,
that?
we have to call Dr. Hamilton
Oh,
on
okay,
that.
all right, okay.
But for now, let's just say I still don't believe that voice has been loud enough. And
don't
my
think
thing to Dr. Hamilton, I hope I'm not being unfair, but to the whole team, I say it like this. Their motto is the voice of the people.
That's what they're
That's-
okay.
That's their
Okay.
motto. I know
Right.
your mind going running down the road, Professor. I know you go. The motto of civil society Bahamas
Yes.
is
the voice
the
of the
voice
people.
of the people.
Man, they got to let their voice be heard then.
You hear that? You heard what you just say? So here's the revelation.
Yes.
Professor, when you talk, you hear your own voice, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, when I talk, I hear my own voice.
Right.
So my thing to Dr. Hamilton and the entire Civil Society Bahamas team,
Yeah.
when you speak, the whole nation should hear your voice.
That's
Because
correct.
if you were the voice of the people, and I'm going to push for that, when you go and sit and talk with the Attorney General, let the people know that you went and you said to him, you are out of order for blocking the freedom of information, for example. That's
Yeah.
just one example.
But there's some others you could add there too.
Oh, man, Professor, you know it's a long list, man. Why you want to do that today? Why you want to do that today, Professor?
I just thought I'd bring it up. I won't get into all the details today.
Professor, my
We got
mind,
some other things to think about.
Professor, my mind went on you when I was watching the Senate proceedings, right?
Yes.
I say, when the professor listening to this man, Mr. Ryan Pinder in the Senate debating the mining bill
Uh-huh.
and promising robust public consultation.
You sure I didn't bite it down?
My mind going on you, and my
They
mind going.
said that with the Electricity
They
Act
said
of
that with the Electricity
2024,
Act also.
which was passed in 2024.
Yes.
But
Coming
they
into
ain't doing
effect
it.
June 1st. They did not do it.
And
They-
the Attorney General has been giving some very bad advice to the Bahamian government. Very bad advice. Because he told them they could undo constitutional law with regular statute law.
That's dictatorship, Professor.
And that's not true. But ain't no one tell him any better. Did civil society tell him any better?
I don't know. If they did, they didn't say it publicly. I
But they
think
should say it publicly.
they need to say it publicly. I
and,
believe
tell,
they
and
need to
let
say
the
it
people
publicly.
know. So we told Attorney
Mhm.
General Ryan Pinder
Yes,
that the crap that he said to the
Yes.
government
right.
is not constitutionally sound.
Exactly.
That's what they ought to tell him.
See, we have a whole, in addition to that, right? Let's widen the conversation. Professor, we have a whole Bahamas press club in the Bahamas, you know.
Yes.
There's a press club. All the press, the majority, but all of the media houses are involved with the Bahamas Press
Press
Club,
Club,
if I'm not
right.
mistaken.
Yes.
You would get a newspaper article, let's say, for example, from Mr. Capron. And I don't know if they had elections over the last couple of weeks or whatever the case is.
Yes.
But to my understanding, Mr. Capron is president of the Bahamas Press Club.
Right.
That is an excellent organization. We're not talking about one media house, and we're not talking about one reporter.
Right.
We're talking about the whole slew of them,
Those two of them, yes.
all of the media in the Bahamas. You don't think their voice would be powerful if they come out and say, for example, freedom of information. Mr. Capron said in a newspaper report that reporters would not have to be so aggressive. This was over the Uri Kemp matter.
Yes.
Uri Kemp, in the office of the Prime Minister, pushed and prodded, however you want. I'm not taking no sides. Me personally, I'm not taking no side. But the point is, it was a tense moment and a conflict where the financial secretary, Simon Wilson, would have sounded menacing
Yeah.
or even threatening.
Told Mr. Camp.
So we can meet outside.
Yeah.
I can see you outside.
Yeah, but that is a threat.
You see what kind of language that is?
Yes, that's what it is.
No
Yes.
reprimanding. I have a personal problem. You know I have a problem with that.
Yeah, you do.
Because I bring it up at least once a month.
Yes.
So the press can, even if he was being unfair or crossed the line, he asked relevant questions. Mr. Camp asked relevant questions.
Yes.
And I mean, he ran into a wall.
Yes, brick wall too.
Okay. Now the president of the press club had to come out and say, if the Freedom of Information Act was passed, we wouldn't have to go through these things
Right.
to get information. That's the point.
Right.
But that was
true, yeah.
but that was only a newspaper article, Professor.
Right.
You don't think if the whole press club called a press conference. This is what they do every day for everybody in the nation.
Right.
So call a press club for
And
yourself.
speak to that.
Sorry,
issue.
call a press statement for yourself and
Right.
speak to that issue.
Yeah, they should
It
speak to
was that serious, Professor.
that. Yes.
It was that serious.
Yes.
What do we have instead? The Prime Minister says he don't want to get into details on the
That's what
Grand
he said.
Bahama deal. So he don't want to get
Yeah.
into details.
Yeah, the press should have gotten on his case on that one.
Look at the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party. Made the statement. Sometimes it's just not worth the trouble answering questions.
And they let him get away with that crap.
You get that?
Then the man tell you he can't protect you. You run into a brick wall in the
He
United
can't
States.
protect you.
That's what the man tell me.
Professor,
But he know how to collect money.
once there's money in it, they know how to get that. Professor, but you know what this reminded me of? Listeners out there, I don't know if you all listen to Global on Facebook, but I have started putting some links to very crucial information on the Facebook link. If you go to Global 99.5 Facebook page and we are live, anytime Express Yourself comes on, it's also available on Facebook. It's also available on cable, channel, Rev 974.
Yes.
Okay. So I put a link in there today, Professor, where going back to COVID, that's what this reminded me of when the minister of Foreign Affairs
Foreign
said he
Affairs.
couldn't have the students.
Yes.
That don't sound familiar? That do remind you of during COVID when the students were stranded?
Yes, I remember that.
Remember
quite
that?
Well. Yes.
And they said, well, what could they do?
Right.
Mind you, they changed, they made something happen, thank
Yes.
God,
Yes.
but it didn't happen right away.
No, it didn't.
It took some cries and some pleading and it took a push
Yes.
from the Bahamian people.
Right.
You know, the Bahamian people don't know. While they say they couldn't help the Bahamian students, Professor, do you know that Bahamas Air was flying around the Caribbean during the lockdown? You know what the evidence is? The evidence is right in the link. Look for Dwayne Hyler. Look for the statements. I didn't make no statement. I just put a link in there.
Mhm.
Professor, there's nothing that I posted on Facebook that had as much views as that same post I put up there. 32,000 people click on that to say what's going on here. 32,000. And you know what it is? It's during COVID, Bahamas airplanes were picking up doctors from Cuba and flying them to other countries.
During the COVID.
During the
period.
COVID lockdown, when everybody was locked down.
How come the minister ain't talk that?
Well, I want them to talk that. Any Bahamians want to go on Facebook and find the link? The link is right there. All you got to do is click on it and be prepared to be shocked at what else you all don't know going on.
That is a serious.
We couldn't go. You can't have the students,
Right.
but you're making money because you were flying doctors out of Cuba into other countries. You see what I'm saying,
Yeah,
Professor?
right. Yeah.
See, we want the nurses to come, but we don't want Cuban doctors to come. That's another story. You can't get into that.
Okay.
We want the Cuban nurses to come, but we don't want the Cuban doctors to come.
Okay.
So, we need to be less quiet about these things. We need to speak up more. We need to
I
take
think we need to-
action
Yes.
more, because what we are doing, we are enabling the government. We are allowing the government to get away with all kind of misbehavior and
Yeah.
questionable behavior.
Yes.
We have a call there, Professor.
Calling you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Professor.
Yes, ma'am.
One thing I could say about this minister of health, he likes foreign.
He likes.
If it's foreign, it's good.
Oh,
But if it's
okay,
Indian,
okay, yeah.
it can't work for him. But that's all I can say. He
Wow.
like foreign.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's terrible.
Wow.
Well,
Wa-
thank you
wow.
for your contribution. Say like
Wow.
foreign. and
While
not-
our healthcare workers are pouring out of the country. Professor, I got first-hand information. After COVID, people were only waiting on the election. As soon as the election took place, many healthcare workers hightailed it to America and to Canada. That's why we are in the situation we're in now. After all that training, after all of that dedication, and yet we now are going to Ghana and to Cuba and bringing in healthcare workers, paying them 3 months in advance and putting them up in Breeze's hotel. That is what we are doing, and not paying the healthcare workers that we owe. And then turning around and saying we have a surplus, we can have a surplus of money next year, first time in so many years. We have all kind of money.
But didn't they say they have surplus now? 75 million?
No, Professor. You gotta. You are the one who taught me. Listen to what they say,
And
but watch what they do.
Okay.
It is projected.
Oh, that's a projected? Oh, that's a whole horse of different. So you ain't got the money. That's a different thing. Boy, that's something else. When you put that word projected.
See it there? See it right there?
Yeah.
Projected. Right there.
Projected
And-
surplus.
Yes.
But that ain't no real surplus.
That ain't no real surplus.
Like
Just
you could
like
project,
the Grand Lucayan deal,
you
you
could
know,
write
real
100
deal.
million surplus, but that ain't 100
That ain't
million.
nothing yet.
That's just a word.
No, sir. We have a
I
caller.
think we have a caller on the line.
right
Caller,
there.
you live
Yeah.
on there. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor. What is happening in the Bahamas when you get immigration touting about how much millions they made for the year? That is the problem. In the old days, the purpose of immigration was to monitor and police who came into the country
Yes.
and to see that they didn't overspend their time and they were designated to certain people. But over the years, immigration has become like you doing this as a form of revenue. So when you look at it, this whole thing is a scheme to empty the Bahamas and bring in people because then they got to charge for work permit. But at the same time, you are emptying your country to bring these people here. They're going to populate, they're going to be in the schools, and they ain't going back home. So we don't know what we're doing. We're making money off immigration, but then at the same time, we are disenfranchising our workers, and we're giving away the country.
Yes, ma'am.
The same privileges that you give these people to come in here, why you can't give it to the natives who are entitled to it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So we have a problem, and it's all about we have become money junkies. In the old days, immigration bus would park, and they would go from house to house. Mr. Joe Blow, I understand you have some immigrants here. Why are they here? They would come back to see if these people were legal or not legal, and they would be deported. But now immigration look like they're in the race to make money. And it's
Yes,
not
ma'am.
right.
No, it isn't.
We don't know what we're doing. You go flood your country just to make a couple of dollars, and what you're doing, you're moving out your people and bringing in these strange people with these strange cultures. They can bring their family, so your population of the indigenous people can be watered down eventually.
That is correct.
These people, they can find a way to get into politics.
Mhm.
So what we doing, man? And nobody opening the mouth because everybody only after this money. And we're losing our country right to this immigration thing. What are we doing, man?
Yeah.
What's going wrong? We're just a bunch of money junkies? What's wrong? What happened to the ministers of religion? They're a bunch of money junkies. So what is happening, man? We're giving away this country that God gives us. Everybody wants to come in here to take it away and look like they're taking it away without a soldier, or battlefield, or ammunition. We need to get it right, man. And our politicians, they need to find out and examine themselves. Why are we doing this?
Thank you very much for your contribution. The caller made some very, very strong, but we're getting some strong messages today, on the show. We got to go right into a break again. We didn't even play that at the tape, but we're going to get back to that after the next break. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. We'll be back after the break. going so fast. I just thought I was just beginning, but the man told me this is my last portion in the show. So callers, if you're gonna call, do it now, man. So many things are so exciting, so many things to cover, so many things to talk about. And sometimes it's rather challenging to be able to pull different topics of national importance, which affect the entire country, and to have a proper discussion on the radio with the sound bites, because we want you to hear what the people say, and then we can have an intelligent discussion. And then you can make up your mind on whether they're telling you yay or nay. It's most important that we be as accurate as we possibly can. That's why the sound bites are very important in the show. And we will use them as much as we possibly can, because we want you to hear yourself what the minister says, or whoever may be the one speaking at any one given time. You're going to find that since, the election period is on, people are going to be campaigning, and they're going to be saying a whole lot of things. So we have to be prepared for that kind of thing coming across the airwaves. And I'm concerned about the callers who called in today. They expressed their views, and some are very much concerned about what they see happening in the country. Now, what are we going to do about it? That is the key. I think we have another tape to be played. This one is Mr. Obi Ferguson. We had Pierre Glover Roll, the Minister for Labor. Now we have the TUC President, Obi Ferguson.
That government was one of the government we supported. I don't know where we're going with this, because that is on record. We can't run from that.
So would you still support them considering everything?
Why wouldn't if the government carry out what they say they're going to do? That's why I say you for me, I for you. We're not opposed to Brave Davis. As a matter of fact, I have no difficulty with the Prime Minister. None whatsoever. But there are people who are, for whatever reason, they're trying to create a smoke screen and trying to make it appear as though we are against Brave. We signed a document where we want to honor it, but the minister, they have their own little private agenda, doing certain things, and say, oh, he's not with the PLP. Well, I can say that we have a document signed.
The minister, well, not the minister. I got to get this right. Obi Ferguson said, you for me, I for you. He said he signed the document, which is true. He did sign it. And the man asked him, do you support the government? No, well, he's saying nothing changed. He said, if they say they're going to do it, we expect them to do it. We did our part. Now we expect you to do your part. Go ahead, Brother Hyler.
Professor, I really been sitting in your classroom a long time, because my mind was on that same statement. You for me, I for you.
That's what the man saying.
Yeah, let's hear what the caller have to say. I don't know if it's on the same
On the
point,
same point,
but I'll comment after.
Okay. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Sidney McGarter, Walter Thompson.
Are you behind yourself?
Good afternoon, Hyler.
Good day, Patriot.
Patriot number 7.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know what stunt or sleight of hand Obi Ferguson or who he's trying to convince that he against the Davis administration for what happened. But the thing that baffles me and should baffle every person that is listening to this is he is trying to hold the Davis administration to some kind of MOU that when the Davis administration wasn't even in office.
Okay.
They weren't even in office.
That's right.
So
he signed with the party.
He
signed with the party.
How he could try to pull this kind of stunt on a man in opposition, whatever the case. He wasn't binding.
Right. He
You
knows
understand?
he knows better than that. He knows better than that. He knows better than that, Patriot.
Exactly. And he's seeing what happening to all the other Christie and Lisa Linden and BLPs. He sees what's happening to them.
Yeah.
It's just his time now. Brave, the clean slate, like you say, to do his own thing. That is what he's doing.
Okay.
You see? But if you and Sidney McGarner could expand on how could he hold this administration binding when they were in opposition, please explain it to me. I'll hang up and listen.
That's an interesting question. Mr. Halleck, I'll let you get a stab at it, then I'll respond.
Well, my mind goes back to what you said earlier in the week, Professor.
Yes.
They signed a memorandum of understanding.
Yes.
You asked the question, are you sure this is not a memorandum of misunderstanding?
Well, that's what it amounts to now.
Because now the two sides saying two different things.
Two different things, yes.
And the only one getting caught in the crossfire is the workers.
That's the workers, that's correct, yes.
Now that we're in the heat of the political season, and officially on Labor Day, it is said that this Davis administration said that they're actually launching their official campaign.
Right. At the Labor Day rally.
At the Labor Day rally.
Yes.
With the workers.
With the workers, and they're going to do the crab walk. That's what the woman say.
Well, they say that they're using the yellow T-shirts. That's what we're hearing. But they bought
but she
the
said
T-shirts.
The PLP party. That is where, but the yellow or gold? Which one did?
Well, gold. Let's call it gold.
Gold. Well, they should
gold and yellow.
Gold and yellow. Yes.
Like the
They
golden yolk.
Gold
Like the golden yolk egg program.
Yes. But then one caller said that they were in blue. I know nothing about that.
But we know that, well, let me put it the way you would put it. It is alleged that the government is paying for the T-shirts, and we don't know what else they're paying for. But
okay.
You see what's going on?
Yeah, I think I understood.
The government should not be. But Professor, I have a different question for you. You think Sir Randall Fox would take them T-shirts?
No.
You answer so quick, Professor.
Sir Randall was a man of character. I knew him personally. I knew his wife. I knew his children. I knew that family personally. I think we have a caller on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Professor.
Hey, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Good evening.
Hey, good day.
I would just like to say something here.
Could you speak a little louder for us if you can?
I would just like to say something here. I'm not feeling too good.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
But I want to make a statement here.
Yeah.
All the people I know that they call brave are honest. So if you are not honest, sir, you are not brave. Okay. You are fake.
Is that it? Okay, I think that's.
So all of the people that he know named brave are honest. So if you're not honest, you're fake brave. That's what he's saying.
Okay, all right.
That's what the gentleman is saying.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it like that.
Yeah,
that point.
Yeah. You don't have to add or take nothing.
No,
away.
I'll just leave that just like that. Yeah. That's his view.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the thing is that she said that the party, the PLP party, would be,
but
this parade.
They know they muddy in the water, Professor. They know that. Labor Day is for laborers. Now they may say they're laborers too, but stay out of the. You know what? What's going on in Norman's Key?
They're having labor problems.
What's going on in Great Stirrup Key?
Same thing.
Huh? What's going on?
Are we able to monitor what's happening in all these keys?
Are we able to monitor what's going on at Bahama? Is there any union busting? Are you discouraged from organizing according to...
So there are no union members at Bahama at this particular time.
I think that's what...
No, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. One of the callers who worked there did call on the show several times and said there's no organized labor there.
So are they discouraged? Why would you not have at such an important institution?
Like Bahama. They should have organized unionism there.
No, you should have to protect your rights.
To protect the rights.
Are you able to receive your tips? Are you able to receive any type of additions? Because when people leave their room, they would often, in addition to tipping you in your hand, they would say they'd like to leave something for the person that dealt with their room.
Yes, they would, yeah.
That's a common practice. That's a
yes.
common practice.
Yeah.
They would even say on their card, for some that don't have cash, could you take a $20, could you take a $50 off of this and pass it on
pass it
to
on
such
to
and such a
the
person.
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
Well, that is something that the guest wants to do. That is let's say a note of thanks and appreciation.
Professor, I don't even know.
I don't say anything should be against
I don't
that.
think anything should be wrong with that.
Right. Yeah.
Professor, do you know, because I'm doing research on this, do you know that on these private islands where the Bahamians are working, the
Yes.
same ones where they having labor problems,
Right.
do you know that there's an option that the cruise companies give you? Would you like to, in advance, you can tip all of the tips that are given on the different places you go and the different services? You can put it on your card because there's not a lot of cash on the island. There's no banking on the island.
Right.
They receiving tips from the customers, Professor.
But it's not going to the workers.
We don't know where it's going. That's the point.
That's the point. There's
We
no
don't-
monitoring of it.
There's no monitoring.
Wow.
How you gonna monitor who getting what? Who looking into that? I read an article.
That is a valid
I
point.
read a few articles. They collecting money.
That is a serious matter.
Professor, we need to look into all of these matters because, like we said, we are too quiet on labor. Well, you
Yes.
already say Sir Randall Fox, Clarence Bain, them, they
No,
wouldn't have been
they
so
would have been
close up
to that. Right.
to politicians.
Right. Now let's. But Patriot number 7
Mhm.
asks a question.
Mhm.
Is Brother Ferguson doing the right thing
By trying to
by
hold
holding the
the
current
government.
administration over what was signed when they were in opposition?
Okay, I'll put it like this, Professor. You ever heard a lawyer not talk no law? In the public space, when I say not talk no law, labor law could be complex, but there's a lot of issues in labor law,
Yes, they are.
What points has Mr. Obi Ferguson raised from labor law?
Now that's a good question.
What points has he raised?
I haven't heard anything specific except him to say
Mhm.
about what they signed
Right,
with the PLP party
right, right,
when they were in opposition.
right.
That is basically what he is. From what I understand, he's using that as his base
As his base.
on which to launch his argument.
So, according to Patriot 7 and the point that he's raising,
Yes. He's
What-
asking whether
it
it's
is
fair
okay. So,
for
Professor,
him to hold the government. Now, he used the word the government.
right?
He didn't say the
He didn't
party.
say the party. He said
They
the government.
signed it with the party at
Right.
that time.
So,
Now, the party is now in control of the government. And he's saying, is it fair to hold the government to that, what was signed by the party?
well, the answer to that is simple. As your student, tell me if I get the answer right, Professor.
Oh boy, these people are something else.
Mr. Obi Ferguson and the union had no agreement with the government. They had agreement with Mr. Philip Brave Davis and the PLP party.
Yes.
So that's who you got to. If Mr. Obi Ferguson want any results, that means you have to go to PLP headquarters.
Okay, I am not going to disagree with
Yeah,
that.
go to, because you had an agreement with the party. So go to
Yes.
PLP headquarters, wait until Mr. Davis comes to the party headquarters and see if the party will do anything for you. But based on him sitting in that office, he's not obligated to do anything based on being prime minister. Now, we haven't seen the agreement, Professor.
No, we haven't seen the agreement. We
Yeah.
had to get a copy of that to be able to see what it is. But it is a very touchy situation. And this is why I've been trying to get the Bahamian people to see there's a vast difference between a political party and the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, some people will say Mr. Ferguson was wrong for signing with the party and expect the government now to
Right.
perform. This is why Patriot number 7 asked that question. He didn't sign an agreement with the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, which is true.
But the Professor, he is a king's counsel. He's the highest order lawyer you're
Yes.
going to find. He should
Yes.
know. He should know better than that.
But let's see what this caller might have to be able to put some light on it. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Magada, and I'm thinking
Brother
I
Hyland.
call it right back to
Hey.
agree with you all, because I know that means you're telling me I ain't crazy. But I only want to say that my Grammy used to tell me a promise is a comfort to a fool. And that's what happened to Obi signing the agreement with the party in opposition.
Okay.
Comfort to a fool. Thanks.
Patriot, you hit the nail on the head, Patriot, because Mr. Ferguson's official statement was they broke their promise.
That's what he said.
That's his
yes.
official statement,
Yes.
representing an entire union. He said they break their promise. Now, who you think was surprised when he said that of politicians that got in office? Who you think was surprised, Professor?
Well, that's a good question.
I don't consider that good labor leadership. I'll just leave that right there. I don't consider that good labor
see,
leadership.
the point is, this is why one has to be very, very careful. You have to know who you're talking to and in what office they're in. You got to know what the laws are, and you act accordingly. Okay? So this is why a lot of mixing up occurs in this country, because we can't seem to understand. We have a call on the line. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Professor,
Yes, sir.
I am sure that Sir Lyndon is turning over in his grave
Wow.
to see what the PLP has come down to.
Wow.
Okay.
And the PLP that has always professed to be pro-labor.
Pro-labor, yes, that's correct.
I know he must be turning over in his grave to see what the PLP has come down to.
Yes.
And I leave that right there.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, Colin, for your contribution. See, you had men in the past, men of honor, men of character. We seem not to have that today. Okay? And so I'm trying to get people to understand there's a vast difference between party and government. Remember now, the Minister for Labor and I think Public Service, she's for
Yes,
for
the
two
public
then.
service.
Okay.
Yes.
She mentioned a statement, the government and the party. Now, when she opened her mouth and said that, a red flag went up in my head. I say, right there, there's a conflict.
Right.
Now, there may be a misunderstanding between her and the leader of the TUC,
Right.
but the TUC is a labor leader, and he's also a trained lawyer, and he ought to know when he makes these statements, the difference between the two. Okay? So now, this is why it's very important that you have to understand the character of the people you are calling upon to do your national affairs. Now, there's another group out there that says give them a chance. That's a political party too. Now, we have given other political parties a chance to run the country. We have seen what happens. And I am saying to people, what we have today is things that ought to be done in the best interest of the Bahamian people. You hear that all the time about what is in the best interest of the Bahamian people. But the Bahamian people continue to suffer. Even though they have gone to the point where they gave a particular grouping of people a massive landslide of seats. This current administration got 32. The one before them had 35. I mean, how much more do you want? You mean to tell me with 32 seats you can't solve these problems in this nation? You don't have any opposition to say, well, you ain't got enough votes to pass this in the House or not enough votes to pass it in the Senate. All you have is power. So what's stopping them from dealing with these important issues? You say you're pro-labor, well, then what's the problem?
That's what they say. Professor, I think we have a bigger problem than politicians.
Yes.
And, you know, the Bible says when the righteous remain silent. evil flourishes.
Evil flourishes. Yeah, you're quite right.
You know,
You're
so
quite right.
I don't know if we understand that even if you don't live by the Bible, you know, you could bring it down to
It's a principle.
It's just a principle.
It's a principle of
If
life.
you be silent on matters, that's gonna grow. If you don't
Yes.
cut weeds down,
the weed,
the
will keep
weed is
growing.
gonna grow.
That's right.
So we looking at a backyard full of bush and grown over. I'll be like, why that bush growing? You didn't say nothing when the first thing grow. You didn't pull it up.
Didn't pull it up. Yes.
You didn't pull it up.
Yes.
See, when the BPL thing was going down, and the man say, when the ink is dry, I'll tell you
Yeah,
what's
that's
happening.
what he said. Yeah.
Okay. The law says whether prime minister or not, the information will come forward
Yes.
on what the deal is.
That's what it says.
That's the law.
That's in the
The Electricity Act 2024.
Right.
There's a clause that says duty to consult.
Duty to consult. Yeah.
The category,
Right.
the section in the law.
And so the Attorney General said what he was going to do again. When
He said they're gonna have robust consultation.
That's why I actually didn't bite it down.
All that is talk. That's talk. And then the Attorney General is on record of blocking
Yes.
the leader of the opposition
from getting
information
That is
from
essential.
permanent secretaries.
Yes.
So when the public does not pull up these things and say, wait, stop, Mr. Pintard could have come to the public.
But he should have.
Now he went to the microphone
Yes.
and he spoke very well, very eloquently.
Yes.
And the present prime minister is saying, well, he's a good poet.
Yes, he said that.
Now, of all the things Bahamians dealing with, they pointing fingers at one another. I wouldn't dwell on that, but that's what is going on. They just pointing fingers. When we have immigration burdening us down, Professor, one of the heaviest things as we end the show, I mean, Facebook comments are full.
Yeah.
And one of the heaviest things I read here, Mr. D'Amico Bain said 2 of his sisters leave the country and went overseas, and they are nurses. They're in healthcare. And they left the country for better opportunity.
Wow.
That's, I mean.
But then they're bringing nurses in from Ghana.
Yeah, let the Bahamians go and then bring.
That doesn't make any sense.
You know, we got to
putting
brain
up in the
drain.
Breezes Hotel?
Putting them up in Breezes Hotel and paying them 3 months in advance. While our Bahamians have to go elsewhere.
That doesn't make any sense.
Just to be paid fairly, just to be treated. They have to go with treatment too now.
No, treatment is important.
You know?
Very important.
Meeting and discussing things. You know, all of the dignity is at a low place.
Low level.
It's at a low level. So,
Yes.
yeah, man, this, you know, where will it end?
Well, it will end when the Bahamian people decide to have righteous people run the place.
Where they
That's
can
when
find
it'll
them,
end.
though.
Oh, you can find them. You have to dig deep if you want gold, Brother Hyla. It ain't on top of the ground, you know. You got to do some real digging.
Professor, you wouldn't catch me with one of them politicians in that house unless they tell them, boy, y'all wicked. God ain't pleased with y'all, you know.
But then the point is, we can see from the evidence.
Oh, goodness.
When
Yeah.
the scripture tells you when the righteous and authority was
The
supposed to happen.
people rejoice.
When the wicked bear rule, what
The
happened?
people mourning.
But then all you have to look at the evidence.
Well, you had the phone
And then
calls
they
today.
can make, yep, the calls. Were
You had the
very
phone
good.
calls today.
Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
But now I want them same people
Yeah.
to come to the understanding that we can do something about it. That's what Proverbs 29:2 kicks in.
man,
We need to have righteous people running things.
Professor, the show is so, I mean, we got to go, right? Professor, that SpaceX rocket, I was
didn't
watching
even
that
get
fly
into
over, right?
Yeah.
Do you know after it fly over the Bahamas and head over towards Africa,
Right.
do you know that start tumbling out of control?
Yes.
You heard that, right?
Yes, I heard it.
It was tumbling out of control and they could not do the landing. So they let it crash in the ocean. So
They crashed in the Indian Ocean.
in the Indian Ocean. But it was a controlled situation. But my point is,
But
man,
if it's out of control, ain't no control there.
man, the whole government out of control. the rocket out of control. The
Everything
government-
out of control.
Everything is out of control.
Gee.
Professor, that if you listen, if y'all want to go to Facebook and look for, there's a link. I was reading from the article where Mr. Diagula say we will start collecting money for overflight
So how much money we
fees.
get for that overflight fee?
He say up to $350 million we should collect over 10 years. From 2022 to 2032, he said we have control of our sovereign airspace.
No, that's a serious.
see that?
issue. Yeah, very serious. But I think we have to stop now
Yeah.
because my producer is being very patient with me. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Bahamians, thank you very much for participating. Of course, you know, Monday is Constitution Day. I can be right here. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. Have a pleasant evening, wonderful weekend, and please pray for God's protection over the Commonwealth of Bahamas. Thank you very much for participating.